and welcome back to the pricing channel for small businesses in 2022. Yep, it's a new year, and we have a whole new lineup of pricing topics to talk about this year. And so we're going to start this year with a topic that is really on fire right now. It's called SaaS pricing, just like you see back here on the board. SaaS stands for Software as a Service. It's all those software applications that you use from someone's server rather than owning the software yourself and having it resident on your computer. From a business standpoint, one of the big issues is how do you go about pricing your new SaaS application? There are several pricing strategies to choose from, and like in many pricing situations, there isn't a clear-cut answer as to which one is best for you. It always depends. So let's take a look at this presentation to get some background on this topic, and then we'll come back later and talk about it some more.
When considering pricing for a new SaaS software application, a good place to start is with a little bit of marketing research, because this can tell you something about what pricing methods your competition is using, and maybe even how well their customers are served by that pricing. In addition to that, you want to take into consideration your cost structure, your direct costs, which may include software developers, system engineers, and others, as well as overhead costs such as server costs, office administration employees, marketing and promotion costs. And then finally, when looking at potential pricing options, we need to think about what our growth and our profit goals are. Now, in the world of SaaS pricing, some of the major key strategies that are employed include flat rate pricing, which is just a set price for a set package of features and typically includes unlimited usage of that package of features. Now, this rate may not be attractive to small users because they just may not get the value out of it for the price that they're paying. And so in terms of new SaaS applications where you may be targeting small users, then the flat rate may not be attractive and isn't that commonly used. Another pricing strategy is the usage-based price strategy, and it's just what it sounds like. You pay for what you use. And so this strategy does favor small users who will just pay based on their usage, and as their usage grows, they pay more, and it's transparent in that way. And for small users, it feels like it's good value for the price that they pay. Similar to this is a pay-per-user pricing strategy, which is, it's just like what it sounds. The more users or employees you have signed up for a particular piece of software, the higher the price that you pay. And this tends to favor small to mid-sized companies where then the number of people signed up may not be that great, and so the price is not that high compared to the value that they get. Larger companies, on the other hand, might get to the point where they would have to limit the number of employees who are signed up in order to limit the cost of the application. Now, this may also be used not in the sense of changing the price for every user who signs on, but maybe changing that price in bands, where maybe 0 to 5 users would be a certain price, 6 to 10 users would be another price, and on and on. Another pricing strategy commonly used is tiered pricing, which allows customers basically to pick the level of capabilities that they need and pay the price for those capabilities. And so a customer who can get by with a low level of capabilities gets the lower price in the tiered pricing package. As customers' needs increase and they need more capabilities, then they can move into higher tiers of pricing as they get to that point. Again, it's very transparent. Customers can readily see the value that they're getting for what they're paying. And then another pricing strategy is the pay per feature pricing strategy. And this might in fact be combined with a flat rate. There might be a flat rate price for a certain base set of features in a software application. And then as customers' needs increase and they need more capabilities or different features, they can add those on in a kind of a la carte manner, and the price for those features will be added on to the flat rate that they've paid for the application to get into it. Now, one of the key things that a new SaaS application is concerned with is, of course, signing up customers. And one option for getting people to sign up for software is to essentially give them a test drive period to use the software and decide if it's really what they want. And three common ways of doing this are the freemium model, the free trial, and the credits. In the freemium option, basically you're offering typically a no frills, no charge version of your application. And of course, people like free, and it's easy if you make it easy for them to sign up and use it, you'll get more people to sign up. One problem with the freemium version is some people may not need any more than that or be willing to pay for any more than that. And so you may end up supporting a lot of people without getting any revenue from those people. But if you construct the no frills version correctly, you'll probably end up getting the majority of the people who sign up for your freemium version and who like it to then move into a paid application. In the free trial option, you literally give people a period of time to use your full, robust SaaS application for free. It could be 30 days, 60 days, whatever. And the idea is you want to give them the opportunity to use the full, robust version of your software application so that they can really see the value of it and hopefully get hooked on it. And then at the end of the free trial, they'll become paying customers. And so one of the considerations here is how long do you need to run a free trial to get them hooked? One consideration here is if this is an application where they're going to load in a lot of proprietary data or generate a lot of proprietary data, software agreements usually are written such that the data belongs to the application and not to the customer. And so if they decide to leave the free trial version, they don't get to take their data with them. And so for folks who are generating a lot of proprietary data, they can get hooked on this real quick because it's just they don't want to lose what they've generated to go somewhere else. Then finally, the last option is the credits option. And this is where we give them a reduced price for a long enough period that hopefully they'll get hooked on our application. And one reason for choosing the credit route versus the free trial route is the idea that we don't want to offer a free version of our software, or we don't even want to discount our list price because we don't want to diminish the value of our software in the customer's eyes. And so one way to do that is to maintain the list price, but give them a credit, which is not seen as a discount. It's literally seen as a credit, a pass, in order to get to use the software at a lower cost. So the question comes up after going through all this is, what pricing strategies should we use? Which ones are right for us? Well, again, there's always the consideration of market research that we want to see what our competition is doing and how well the market is served and what the market is asking for. We need to look at our costs, consider the value that we're delivering, and determine the balance between growth that we want and profitability. And then also we need to consider, what are our key goals? Are we after growth? Are we after revenue maximization, or are we after profit maximization? And all of this gets wrapped up into a further consideration of what stage of business life are we in? Our goals and our pricing strategies can be based on the part of the business timeline that we find ourselves in currently. And so for SaaS applications, as well as just general new business applications, businesses can go through at least 3 generic type of stages in their business life. In the first stage, we're trying to grow our business. And so we may use pricing strategies that help us to grow rapidly so that we can reach a critical mass of users, which makes our business sustainable. And then after some period of time, it may be years, we may reach a period where revenue growth pretty much stalls out. And now we need to change the structure of our business, the structure of our application, and maybe our pricing strategies to switch from revenue growth to maximizing profitability, in particular gross margin. And then for many businesses and SaaS applications, there might be a period of time where we actually go into a revenue decline. Maybe market conditions have changed, maybe technologies have changed, new competitors have entered into the marketplace, and they're starting and we're starting to see a decline in users for our application and a decline in revenues. And so again, we may need to change our business structure and our pricing strategies in order to maximize the monetization of this business during this decline phase. This becomes even more important as we start to think about net income over time, as well as revenue over time. So when we're in the growth phase, this rapid growth phase, our pricing strategies and our promotion strategies and all of this may be geared towards high revenue growth. But because of the competitiveness of our of the market we're in, as well as our cost structure, we might actually be running a negative profit net income stream during that period of time. And it's only after we reach a critical mass of users that we get into positive net income territory. And then if we enter into this business stage where revenue growth essentially stalls, then we may need to change the business structure and our pricing so that we can continue to grow our net income during this stalled revenue period and reach the maximum net income of our business, even where revenue is not growing anymore. And then, of course, finally, if we enter into this decline phase where the number of users is declining, we may need to look at pricing that continues to maximize the revenue even in that declining phase, but also maintains as much net income as we can during that decline phase. And so to look at these in a little bit more detail, in this phase one where we're pricing or driving for revenue growth, we may have a full development team on board in our company. We may have pretty low gross margins because of very high direct costs for development engineers, software engineers, and who knows what other resources we have on board. We may also, in this period of time, have very high overhead costs. And so as we pick a pricing strategy that gives us a competitive advantage in the marketplace to drive high growth, to reach this critical mass of users, we may in fact be running a negative net income. And so it's imperative in this part of the business life that we generate the significant sales that are needed in order to switch that income stream to a positive net income stream. And then in the second phase, where revenue growth, user growth stalls out, hopefully most of the development work or all the development work on the software is finished, and the people who were involved in that are gone to do something else. And at this point, we may switch to a strategy where customer support is key to help us generate the maximum amount of profitability from the software. And so as we begin to reduce direct costs and overhead, we may also transition to a pricing strategy that continues to maximize revenues, even though the number of users is pretty stagnant. And the whole goal of this cost containment, and pricing strategy that maximizes revenues is to make sure that we maximize the bottom line, net income. And then finally, if we enter into this phase three where the number of users starts to decline, then either because the market segment is shrinking or new technologies come in, or where there are new entrants that are taking business away from us, whatever, we need to probably continue this effort to minimize direct and overhead costs as much as possible. And we may again change pricing strategy in order to maximize revenues even in an environment of declining users. And so a term that's often used to describe this type of operation is a term called harvesting the business to generate the maximum amount of cash during this decline phase.
As you may have noticed, there were two key topics in that presentation. The first was a description of various pricing strategies that are used in SaaS applications. The second was a discussion about business phases. So when it comes to selecting pricing strategies, we need to consider a few things. First of all, what pricing strategies work in our market sector, and what is our competition doing, and how well are the customers served? Another thing to consider is which business phase are we in? Are we in the startup and grow phase? Are we in the mature phase? Or are we in that declining phase of our business? You see, different pricing strategies can be used for all of those different phases in order to maximize overall profitability. But how do you change pricing strategies when your business is changing its phase? Well, it's very much like raising prices. You might recall that we talked about how to successfully raise prices in video 7, and a similar process can work here. So to change pricing strategies, we need to offer a justification of why we're changing. Possible justifications might be we're adding new features, we're consolidating features, we're improving efficiency or speed, and any other justification that applies in our situation. Next, we have to explain why the change will be of value to the user. We can also offer temporary incentives to make the change to the new pricing strategy easier for the consumer, and or raise the cost of using the old pricing system as an extra inducement to change. At the end of the day, we, the seller, are making these changes to maximize our overall profitability. SaaS is a rapidly growing area with lots of competition. Smart pricing helps to determine who wins the game. As we conclude this video, I want to thank you again for coming back to see us in 2022. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there so that you don't miss a single video. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again.